Hello everyone, my name is Joshua. This is the 124th video of my video journal series. Today's date is Friday, 12th of June, 2026. How's everyone been? I've been pretty good, thank you, and obviously no movie review today. I have to go to bed early, but rest assured I will do a movie review of the second Detective Conan movie sometime around this weekend, maybe Saturday, Sunday. I'll have to rewatch the movie again and write more thorough notes, and hopefully it'll be a lot better than yesterday's movie review. But rest assured, I will do a review of those movies as I slowly get through them. But anyway, something I want to talk about with you today is something I've been wanting to talk about for a while now. It just falls under one of my pieces of life advice, and that is to stand up for yourself. There have been plenty of times in my life where I felt like I've, needed to stand up for myself. Where you see truth and justice being squashed, essentially, or someone's just trying to pick on you, or you just feel like, hey, my rights are not being, I guess, respected. Let's say, and you got to stand up for yourself. You got to stand up for your right to speak out against hypocrisy and greed in today's modern world, which is, unfortunately very abundant. But in life you have to sort of be that vicious tiger sometimes, in a good way. I mean, like you gotta stand up for yourself and stand up for the others around you. I hate just seeing exploitation, basically. And as someone who's worked minimum wage, in often just very, I guess, tedious work environments, or just seeing someone pick on someone else, just that form of exploitation where you've got a bigger power bullying a smaller power. I cannot stand that. No one can stand that, obviously. But it's just, yeah, basically to stand up for yourself. Mr. T had a very good saying. I pity the fool. Um, if you're a big fan of the A Team, or you know Mr. T's films, like Rocky and all that, you will know what I'm talking about. And I'll say, I pity the fool who doesn't stand up to himself. Um, and standing up for yourself really takes a lot of courage. All right, no doubt, it takes a lot of courage, a lot of commitment, and a lot of bravery. But it's something worth fighting for. And I encourage all of you to fight the good fight. Essentially, fight the good fight, and truth and justice will prevail. I think I got that as a Ben Shifley bookmark somewhere in my room. I should really bring that bookmark here, but it's basically my life quote. It's a quote that motivates me in life. That one Ben Shifley bookmark. Um, but is to stand up for yourself. The way I see it is, unless if you don't stand up for yourself, no one will. Basically, it's the unfortunate truth. But you know, you got to stand up for yourself, and you got to stand up for others. Unfortunately, um, with life, we all come through these challenges. We all come through these hurdles, and there's no way of really preventing those hurdles, if you know what I mean. But we have to stand up for yourself, and it's not really easy. It takes, yet again, a lot of commitment, a lot of bravery and strength. But it's something that you know is necessary, and to have that sort of bravery and to have that sort of commitment towards you know I guess fairity, um, you know standing up for what is right. And that's something I wish I can do. Obviously I'm working on it. Like, I do view myself as a little bit fragile sometimes when it comes to that sort of thing. Always on the defense, but never like really attacking sort of thing. But um, you just have to stand up for what is right, to have respect for oneself. If someone is, I guess, bullying you around, obviously call them out on such behavior. But you got to stand up for yourself, not in a physical way, but just say, hey, I don't think what you're doing is right, or I don't like it, sort of thing. And then, yeah, just tell them out. Nothing. Here's my top tip in life: nothing hurts more to hypocrites than the truth. The truth is the most powerful weapon. It can Truth can do a lot of things to one's reputation. The truth is the most powerful weapon to be used against hypocrites and all the evil in the world. As soon as you unlayer the truth, that's when you you can easily understand something. Basically, the truth is the ultimate weapon. All right. Like over like just if you ever see news around the world, just highlighting all the all that sort of stuff, highlighting the truth, telling the truth to someone, obviously hypocrites don't like listening to the truth, right? They don't like listening to the truth. But be frank, if I had to be frank, that is the most powerful weapon. All right, I don't believe in obviously violence. Is the solution. It is not. But the truth is the solution, quite frankly. And obviously, you got to stand up for yourself. Stand up for the truth. Stand up for your rights as a human being, and that by that I mean obviously I don't believe in this like sovereign individual thing, but um stand up for respect for oneself, respect for justice, respect for you know equity, equality, and respect others as you would like to be respected. But obviously there are some people in the world who don't follow that moral, and we need to uphold that truth and justice. We need to call out all the hypocrisy in the world, all these terrible, terrible people who are on the top. And I know I might sound like a revolutionary saying this, but it's something I've been quite passionate about. This not like being the evil man on the top. No, it's just that I guess you know that to stand up for what is right, basically. I want to do that, but I'm not brave enough to do that right now. And it's often the people who tell the truth who are want to get locked up, who get into trouble. Not the actual people doing those bad things in the world. It's often the people who call it out. And obviously, there is like that grey area, like classifying, sorry, declassifying, documents and all that. And obviously, that's in like the sort of greyish area. But ultimately, the truth and justice will prevail. I don't think those telling the truth should be punished. I think obviously like don't go, I guess, you know, declassifying documents and all that. You will get punished for it, but it does seem a little bit unfair how those who aim to spread the truth and those who um, aim to do good can sometimes land themselves into bad situations because those in power at the top can use their powers to basically object that truth, to object that sort of social justice. And listen, I don't want to get too political on this channel, even though my name's like not the prime minister, but I just don't like to see that form of exploitation. I've certainly seen it here in the Australian politics and global politics as well. And I believe it is. I learned something. Last year it was basically I forgot what it was called. I certainly remember the concept. I forgot what it was called. Um, it was like active citizenship. Yes, active citizenship. Basically, you as a human being exercising active citizenship, participating in the democratic process, participating in local community activities, helping out others, being an active citizen of your country, active in the political process and all that. That sort of links to active citizenship. Standing up for yourself is, in a way, active citizenship because you're exercising your political expression. You're exercising, I guess, the duty to care and respect for one another and to respect yourself, most importantly. But obviously, here in 2026, yep, it's very interesting time in politics. Certainly lots been going on, and you see all these protests and rallies and all that. People who want to, I guess, uphold that social justice and equity, and to uphold the truth, and to respect not only themselves but to make life better for others, and to call out leaders and those at the very top who are not very, I guess, morally righteous. And obviously we've all seen those scenes on the TV or internet, wherever you get your news from. And obviously it's a very interesting time. But I recommend to obviously even something as small as going to your local council's meetings and all that, just to voice your political concerns and to uphold the truth and to you know just make the community a better place, make the world a better place. And yeah, I think you can make the world a better place by just standing up for yourself, where you just see um, a need without, just like someone in need, or someone's, I guess, um, someone just being trampled by a higher force, a higher person who think they can abuse their powers to trample the little guys, sort of thing. And yet again, though, yeah, it's just I believe we can all start to make the world a better place by standing up for ourselves. Obviously, I don't mean you know, I mean in a good way. Obviously, to do good in the world. Um, and yeah, that's I guess the most simple, the simplest way I can put it, really. And obviously, I quite like to yet again have that bravery and all that. Obviously, I won't go around declassifying files and all that, because I know that will land me in very big trouble, and that is something I don't want to do. But I always found it that those who aim to spread the truth and those who aim to achieve transparency are the ones who are punished, unfortunately. But that's the way, I guess, the world sort of works. Um, but I believe people should know the truth. Um, what was that movie scene? You can't handle the truth. What's that quote from? Which movie? I think it's um I don't want to say Full Metal Jacket, but it's like there's some movie I know where it's like that. I want the truth, but you can handle the truth. You know that quote. Anyway, it's just randomly stuck in my brain. But yeah, I believe in the truth. I believe people should know the truth, and that people should be able to stand up for themselves and you know work for work hard, make the world a better place, and yeah, that's been pretty much it. And I know this I guess video might seem a little bit different to my other ones. Well, basically it is sort of, but it's something I've been wanting to talk about for a while now. And I'm just speaking from the heart, just speaking from what I perceive, and you know like this is an issue I guess that affects everyone. Sort of, you can all maybe recall a time where you wanted to stand up for yourself but you couldn't because you were scared to. Even though it would have been the right thing, and yeah, I just obviously I've been in those type of situations, and sometimes you got to play it cool, but other times you just feel like you want to stand up to that bully, or you want to highlight that person's hypocrisy or whatever, or just like stand up for a particular issue, but you can't. Well, I just say, to follow the truth, to even though even though you might not be able to, I guess, do much in certain situations, is just to you know use that, I guess, to use that sort of experience to why you'll never do what the other person's doing, and only fuel your desire to you know spread the truth, to essentially you know perform active citizenship duties, to work hard to make the world a better place. Certainly, you do not solve an issue by scooping to that person's level. Rather, you use that as an example, or you use that as experience or whatever, just to just to fuel your desires to keep on fighting the good fight. And yeah, certainly we do not, you know, um, we don't solve problems by creating more problems. Rather, we try and create a world where we can, live in, social equity, where we can live in a world where everyone's rights are respected, where everyone can stand up for themselves, and where everyone can fight for a particular cause. Um, and I feel like this is most probably the best time to talk about it because yet again, 2026, and really the whole 2020s have been a very, very political, decade. A lot of things are happening. Um, and, I often get tired from politics and just think about politics all the time. But I will always, you know, always keep my focus on fighting the good fight, and, to stand up for myself, and to stand up for the rights of others as well. And yet again, though, yeah, it's just, something I've really been passionate about. I guess it's like one of those like objective good sort of things. Thou shall not commit murder, thou shall not do adultery, and all that. But like it is something that's I guess is like really been highlighted in this year alone. And um, there's been yet again I can relate it to like plenty of time. I won't discuss these like moments because they are like sort of personal, but there's been plenty of times in my life where you know you feel like you're not able to speak up for yourself, or you just feel like you just gotta succumb to that sort of I guess defeat, you know, or you just feel like you can't implement that change or you can't fight for yourself, and those moments just really suck, right? They really suck. But I think one way that I can sort of overcome that negative emotion, where that emotion where you just constantly feel like defeated, is just to keep my mind on fighting the good fight, writing down physically maybe, or just like keeping my focus on, all right, what is my duty? What is my active citizenship? What is my active duties as an Australian citizen to uphold democratic values, to fight for social equity, to fight for equality, to fight for stuff like the environment, to fight for better access to health, education, and all of that. To really exercise my political speech, to exercise, that everyone has an inalienable right to all these things. And like I feel like there's plenty of people around the world, unfortunately, who do not believe the same way as me, who might believe the complete opposite, or might not care about such things. But I'm already one step forward, and you know, how can I put this? Like, you know, those with, I guess, well, I think this is a quote by Bob Hawke. I'm trying to remember what the quote was. Um, it's like something with like something don't always have the loudest voices. Like those with the greatest, or those who are the smartest, or those who are the greatest. I know those aren't like the exact words, but it was something, um, like those who are always the smartest aren't always the loudest, sort of thing. I forgot the precise wording of that quote, but it's essentially like even those who don't always have the loudest voice, that doesn't mean they're not smart. In fact, they might be smart. They just might be very smart, but they might not voice their concerns much. So yeah, like those who are the smartest aren't always the loudest, and it can even work both ways. We've seen a lot about in politics. But as long as you keep that sort of focus in mind, the powerful word, the most powerful thing other than the truth is just saying no. If someone wants to do something, but you don't want to do it, just say no. And if that person keeps the pressure, you say, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" We've all been through that. Just say no, no, no. Um, no can be a very powerful word as well. Same with yes. Yes can be a very powerful word. Like the expression like the sword is sorry, the pen is mightier than the sword. Um, you know that sort of thing. No and yes are very powerful words, just like how a pen is, theoretically more powerful than a sword. A pen can be used, like, I guess, how you view it. Obviously, you know, if you're in like a battle or whatever, you've got a pen, that won't really do much, but a pen can be used to sign off on military documents, sign off on a lot of things which can impact a lot of people, and be used as written expression, So, yeah, pen is mightier than a sword. No and yes are extremely powerful words, but I like to focus on no because, just say no. And even if someone tries to convince you of something which you're uncertain of, or if you don't want to do, just say no, no, no. Obviously, you're still going to pay taxes, but like no is an extremely powerful word. Same with how the truth is also an extremely powerful tool. It may seem simple, but they are extremely powerful, and don't underestimate the power. And I guess to really, clarify my message in this video is just to basically stand up for yourself, but to fight the good fight. You know, to fight to not only make the world a better place for you, but to make the world a better place for others. And I feel like, here in the 2020s, I think it was a very appropriate time for me to say this. I don't know what will happen in 2030s or 2040s. Like, the world is uncertain, all right? And I feel a little bit of that uncertainty, but I will, I hope I'll have enough bravery one day to keep on, like, obviously keep on fighting the good fight, but to stand up, you know? And yet again, no, who knows where the future would lead us? All these developments going on in Europe, the United States, Asia, increasing right wing politics, populism, and all that jazz. I shouldn't say jazz; they're quite concerning things. But there are a bunch of people in the world, and I do know some of these people who fight the good fight, who stand up for truth and justice, and to stand up for making the world a better place, especially in today's world. Where things are, let me say, just very, I guess, uncertain. And yet again, I do feel a bit of uncertainty, but yet again, we're all in this together. I'm with you on this. Like, we all live in, I guess, different countries, but we're all subject to the geopolitical landscape. We're all, I guess, subject to our own paths in life, and I don't understand. I guess I can't really, understand every single person's path in life, but we can, I guess, look ourselves in what we have in common rather than difference. We can see, that we all aspire to be great people who, are successful, who make the world a better place, who, are able to stand up for social justice, not social justice warriors, but social justice, and fairity, and we view ourselves as wanting to be successful and all that, but we should, I guess, view ourselves in what we have in common. The fact that we all humans, we all inhabit this planet, we have a duty to care for it, we all have active citizenship rights to voice our political concerns, to voice all of this. And, obviously, sometimes this voice is suppressed, but that's where we stand up and we voice again. We voice again, and we show that voice in action when we go to vote, when we go to protest on a particular matter, when we do all those things. So, yeah, yet again, this video might seem very, very, I guess, different and more quote unquote deep than my other ones, but yet again, it's just you know, what I've been thinking about, and hopefully I'll be able to make, I guess, more videos like this, just me discussing um really, I guess, quote unquote deep topics like this, even though it really isn't deep. It's more like what's happening here in the good old 2026. But yeah, like I said, if you want to be involved in that, I guess, sort of thing, you can start by writing to your local politician, writing to your local senator, governor, wherever you live, to really start, I guess, exercising those active citizenship duties. That political voice, because there's no one around me, all right, who I can think of who would write to politicians regularly, or to go to local council meetings, or go to some sort of community event. You know, a lot of people just forget that you can actually like contact your local MP if you got an issue. Most people, they don't bother because like politics corrupt and all that. But no, you can actually, if you live in a democratic country, you can write to your local MP on a local, state, or federal level. It again depends which country you live in. But if you live in a democratic country like the United States, United Kingdom, or here in Australia, or New Zealand, or Japan, or Spain, or France, or Germany, or I don't know, South Africa, you can write to your local politician, and you can start by doing that. You can say, well, what are you going to do about this issue? Or when are you going to do this issue? Um, you know, what will you do to stand up for social justice, fairity, and what will you do to make this place better? To you know, fight the good fight, essentially. Obviously now I feel like we are seeing an uptick in people exercising their political rights, to exercise, I guess, their political expression. But and it's just nice to see like young people like me standing up for climate. To reduce the effects of climate change, to fight for a better environment, and all that jazz. But obviously, it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. That's all I can say. I always use that like ACDC song as like an analogy of life. It's a long way to the top if you want to succeed, or rock and roll if you want to achieve something. You know, and to sort of, I guess, pick the good fight. Like I could, um, you know, dedicate my life to reducing the effects of climate change, or I could dedicate my life towards science, or I could dedicate my life towards a very particular issue. But I'm going to choose an issue that I guess personally affects me, and the one that I guess I'm motivated towards, even though theoretically I should be, fighting all those good fights. Everyone has a right to live in, a clean and, not a to live in a clean environment, and to live in an environment which life could be sustained upon. But like stuff like affordable housing as well. To stand up for your rights as a human being, to be sheltered, to have water, to have food, to have all these necessities. And here in Australia, house prices are extremely expensive. I most probably won't get a house until I'm like in my 40s. At this rate, it will take a long, long time. But yet again, I don't know what will happen to house prices. I don't know what will happen to the cost of living. I don't know what will happen to interest rates. Some of these things, I guess, don't affect me now, but they will affect me. Or I'll start having to think about all these things in a couple of years' time. Um, you know, Maybe life will be different in 2030s. Maybe it'll be better. Maybe these issues will still be going on. Who knows? Um, I try not to think, I guess, about the future too much, because the future is always changing. Our perceptions of the future are always changing. Um, yet again, I don't know if this video is keep it going on and on and on, but yeah, that's another thing I want to say. Our perception of the future is always changing. They think the future is going to go this way, but it goes the other way. It goes in many different ways, and that's because the future is in the making. It's in the making right now. Um, yes, but the way I sort of see is that, you know, to understand the future, you need to understand the past. But to understand the past, you need to understand. I don't know where I was going with that, but I know there's a quote of this online. You know, to understand the future, you need to understand the past. But to understand the past, you need to understand. Was it the present? Um, I know this this is very embarrassing, me not remembering the quote, but basically, it's that sort of cyclical relationship with time. I feel like what better way to sort of learn about the. God, I'm really getting confused with this analogy. Can't be an analogy if you can't explain it correctly. All right, Joshua. Um, basically, I was going to relate it back to how I'm basically creating this archive of my life, because, this archive is really weird, It's like I'm recording this in the present right now, but when I upload it to YouTube, it's the past. And obviously, I'm speaking about the future. So this video archive is sort of like three time errors in one. Like me recording this in the present. When I upload this, all this will be in the past, essentially. And then, it's basically a video of me talking about the future. Like, it's really, yeah, it really is sort of like, I guess, all over the place. But 3 in 1. That's what you're getting on the, Joshua's video extravaganza channel. But anyway, basically, yeah. Like I said, you know, where was I? I went on a big rant about time, but now I'm bringing it all back to basically, to stand up for yourself, because I feel like that's where we can get a start on solving the world's issues. To stand up for yourself, to stand up um, for fighting the good fight, and to let truth and social justice prevail, just like what it says on my Ben Shipley bookmark. And yeah, like I said, I know this video might seem a little bit more, I guess, political, or a little bit more, um, little different to my other videos, but yeah, it's just I feel like that's something we need more in the year 2026. And as for today, I guess I really didn't do much. But I really just thought about that, and I've been thinking about this for quite a while. This sort of topic. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, and oh man, I'm gonna go to bed. I am very tired. That's why I'm also gonna end this video here. I haven't really thought of like an end segment, to really, I guess, end these videos with. I know I gave my little like quotes of wisdom a while back. That was like my sort of end segment, but I don't feel like these videos themselves can be like little I guess little trinkets of wisdom, little little just life lessons, I guess. Well, at least lessons that I've learned from life, because life is like one big school, Um, you know, that's, I guess, my analogy of life. It's one big school. You're constantly learning new stuff in life. Never stop learning is what I say. We learn new things every day, and one of my, I guess, one thing that I've learned that is most probably the most important thing that I know is just to basically to stand up for myself and to fight the good fight. That is most probably the most important thing that I know, or most important thing that I've learned that I think needs to be sustained, at least here in the 2020s and beyond. But like I said, I don't know what's going to happen. Like obviously, yet again, the point of me making this series is just to basically document everything happening right now, and don't think everything's all doom and gloom. Certainly, there has been a lot of good in the world, but it's just that I guess things have been changing so rapidly, and things have been really going fast that it's sort of hard to document everything. Like I said, history students um, learning about the 2020s, 20 or 30 years from now in the future will be like insanely confused about everything. Everything's moving at such a fast, rapid rate. AI technology. It's sort of hard to document everything. But I hope this videos and really this whole video journal series can sort of document some of that and to document my thoughts and feelings. And yet again, though, it's something that I'm passionate about. And we're only 124 videos in out of an I think it's around 7,000 videos in total. So we are like around 1/70th. 1/70th. That is tiny, but that number's only gonna grow. All right, as the years go by, the end goal will slowly appear in sight. Will slowly come closer and closer and closer. But yeah, that's basically all I've had to say, and I'll catch you all later. Bye, see ya, take care. Catch you all tomorrow.